Alright, so this is the last unit of notes for this specific unit chapter 9b. We have angles of elevation and depression. Alright, and then what these first two slides are really just show what an angle of depression and an angle of elevation is. So if you think of those two words, the word elevation, you think of maybe an elevator. You know, it goes up, and that's the same thing with an angle of elevation. All right, there's a horizontal line always for depression and elevation, and then for the angle of elevation, the line goes up. All right, so there's always a horizontal line, and then the line goes up for when it's an angle of elevation. For an angle of depression, if you think of depression, you think of down in the dumps and sad, and so instead of the line going up, there's a horizontal line, which is a constant, and then a line that goes down, and that would be an angle of depression. All right, so that's very important, the fact that there's always a horizontal line. You notice right here, I want you to circle these two words, horizontal, horizontal. Very important. Every angle of elevation and depression has a horizontal line. Okay? So let's move over to the next slide. All right, and it has this example of a lighthouse, and it's showing 4 different angles, and it wants to know which ones are elevation, which ones are depression. All right, so if we start with angle 1, we look at the horizontal line, it's a dotted line, and then above it is where the angle is. So it goes from the lighthouse up to the bird, so this would be elevation. All right, but angle 2 starts at the bird, and then there's a horizontal line, and it goes down to the lighthouse, so depression. All right, with angle 3, starts at the lighthouse. There's a horizontal line at the lighthouse, and then it goes down to the sailboat. So it's depression. I'm just going to put a D. And then for angle 4, it starts at the sailboat. There's a horizontal line, and it goes up to the lighthouse. So that would be an angle of elevation. And what this is right here is, this is basically what we're going to do on the next 5 slides, is take these examples that are written, draw a picture, and use a trig to solve. Alright, so this is just an example that's pre-written out for you. Alright, move on to the next slide, slide 3. Alright, it says when the angle of elevation to the sun, so we know it's going to be elevation, is at 52 degrees, a tree casts a shadow that is 9 meters long. Alright, so what we're going to do, it really helps to have a straight edge when you're drawing these. We're going to start by just drawing the ground. Okay, so we're going to draw the ground, and we're going to draw the sun. Yay. Alright, and when you have an angle of elevation from the ground up to the sun, and then there's a tree in between, it says it's at a 52 degree angle. So here's the tree. Very pretty drawing. And it says that the tree casts a shadow of 9 meters. So just think of the sun's rays, and they're coming down here, and then it makes a 9 meter long shadow. And it's asking us, what is the height of the tree? Alright, and then another thing, something that typically can confuse people, make sure this goes here. The reason it cannot go here is because the angle of elevation has to have a horizontal line. So this and this piece of the angle, neither one of those are horizontal, so it can't be an angle of elevation. So I'm going to take those off. Alright, and now we've got our triangle here. We've got 9 meters for one of the sides that we're looking for, and 52 degrees. Alright, this is our reference angle, so just like we did for trig, and this is going to be our opposite side and our adjacent side. So we have to decide which trig function are we going to use. We'll use tangent. So tangent of our angle equals opposite over adjacent. Our adjacent side is our number, the opposite side is x. So it's really nice because all we have to do is multiply 9 times the tangent of 52, and x is going to be 11.5 meters. Alright, so this is what you put in the calculator. Okay, so it's pretty simple. The hardest part is just knowing what to draw and where to put that angle. Okay, let's move on to the next one. At this one, it says a person is snorkeling. Okay, a person snorkeling sees a turtle. And so we've got the ocean here, and we've got the floor, ocean floor here. And then we can put a diver. I'm not very good at drawing, but we'll just make that the diver. And they see a turtle. All right. So we've got turtle here. Yay. And this person is 14 feet above the ocean floor. All right. So what we got going on here is they see that turtle, and then this is 14 degrees, or 14 feet, this triangle right here. But we have a problem. Where do we put that 38 degrees? So there's an angle of depression. But if we look right here, we cannot put the angle right there because there's no horizontal line. All right? This is not an angle of depression. There has to be a horizontal line and then a line going down. So what we have to do is create that horizontal line. So I'm going to put a little dotted horizontal line right here. And then now we can put that 38 degrees in. Okay, there's two options that you can have here. All right, we've got a big rectangle. So if it's 14 on this side, it's going to be 14 on this side as well. And it's asking, it says how far away is the turtle, but it gives us this little hint of what is the horizontal distance. So if you're just reading the question, it's kind of confusing. It's like, does it want this one or this one? But just look at this little helpful hint, and it tells us that it wants the horizontal distance. So that's what we're looking for. So we can set it up with this triangle where we use tangent of our angle equals the opposite over the adjacent. And so this is what we'd put into the calculator. Or what you can do is you also have a triangle down here, all right, which this side is 14 and then this side is our x. But this angle is not 38 degrees, so we've got to figure out how in the world can we figure out that angle. Well, this is a rectangle, so this is a 90-degree angle. So if you just take 90 and subtract 38, you've got 52 degrees left over here. And you're thinking, wait, that's a different angle. How's that going to work? Well, you can still use tangent for that. So we've got tangent of 52. It's going to be equal to the opposite side, which is x, over the adjacent side, which is 14. All right, so pretty crazy, huh? We've got 14 times tangent of 52, and we've got 14 divided by tangent of 38, and they'll both get the same number, all right? So if I put these in the calculator, we get 17.9 feet for this one, and hey, what do you know? We get 17.9 feet for this one too. So there's two ways to approach this problem. You just have to pick one. You just, whichever way you want to go for it. Whichever way you feel more comfortable with. But you will get the exact same answer with either one of those. All right? Just make sure you realize that this is the angle of depression up here. This is not. This is a completely different angle. That's 52 degrees. That's not 38. So if you put 38 there, you will get the wrong answer. Just make sure you pay attention to that. All right. Moving on to the last 3 examples. All right, now we've got Jared, and he is 12 feet from a rock climbing wall. So we're going to go ahead and draw the ground. And we'll draw the wall. And why don't we just go ahead and draw Jared. And then his friend up there on the rock climbing wall. Alright, and when he looks up to see his friend go up the wall, he looks at an angle of elevation of 56 degrees. Okay. So we've got to use that angle of elevation to figure out how high up the wall is his friend. Alright, so this we've got 56 degrees, and how high up the wall is his friend. And then just make sure you're reading the whole problem. We see that he's 12 feet away from the rock climbing wall. That's important. You have to have that 12 to be able to figure out the trig part. So we've got our reference angle right here, and then the opposite and adjacent sides of the triangle. A lot of times with angles of elevation, these word problems, you're going to use tangent. Not every time, not 100% of the time, but a lot of the time. So that will kind of help you, give you a little hint. This is going to be tangent of our angle, which is 56, equals the opposite side over the adjacent side. So 12 times tangent of 56. That's what we're going to put in the calculator, and we get x is 17.8 feet. So he is 17.8 feet high on that rock climbing wall. Alright. Number 6, we have Maria. I was about to call her Marla. I don't know why. That I look like an L. She's looking out of a 17-foot high window and sees 2 deer. Oh gosh, I've got to draw some deer. I'm not the best at that. So I've got a building. It's not super fancy. And then I've got Maria. Ah, there she is, Maria. And, how do you draw a deer? There we go. That silly looking deer. She sees 2 deer. Oh goodness. There's my deer. That's as good as it gets. Alright. She sees 2 deer. So I'm going to draw a line from Maria to the deer. And then so it's very important that you have a horizontal line. Have to have a horizontal line for this to work. Alright. And we want an angle of depression. Alright. This is where it gets confusing. This is what throws everybody off. They're like, where do I put the angle? Does it go here or does it go here? I don't know. Always remember the trick. Find your horizontal line and then the line that goes down. There is no horizontal line on the edge of this angle. So it has to be right here, 26 degrees. Okay, and then it says this building is 17 feet high. Well, she's 17 feet high over here. It's also 17 feet high over here. So we can put 17 for that angle. And then it says, what's the horizontal, or for that side, excuse me. Then it says, what's the horizontal distance from Maria to the deer? Alright. Well, Maria, we're going to use tangent to figure that out. So tangent of our angle, oh, I meant to label these. That's opposite and adjacent side. Hopefully you're getting good at figuring those out. Opposite is 17. Adjacent is x. So we are going to take 17 and divide it by tangent of 26. Alright. And then we are going to get 34.9 feet. But it says round to the nearest foot. And it specifies what it wants. So we will go ahead and write 35 feet. Oh, yep, I can't see that. So it is 35 feet. The deer are 35 feet away from the base of that building. Alright, last one. We're moving on. Alright, this one is the most challenging because there's 2 different triangles in this one. But what we've got is we've got Stickman standing on a building. He's standing on a small building. So this is Stickman's building. And then we've got this big old building. Oh gosh. And ultimately what we were trying to figure out is how tall is this building over here. I'm really bad at drawing, as you can tell. So let's draw Stickman over here. So he's standing on this building. And he turns to see a taller building next to him. So the top building, we draw one up there. It's at an angle of elevation of 62 degrees. And then he looks down at the bottom of the building, and he's at an angle, looking at an angle of 70 degrees. He knows that the two buildings are 50 feet apart, because he's a smarty pants, I guess. I don't know, I knew that. I guess he measured. And now it's asking, how tall is the building? Alright, so we've got two separate triangles here. So this little line between him and the building is 50 feet apart. Alright, and then it's asking for this side and this side. So I'm going to give it two different variables. Alright, now, so let's concentrate on this triangle up here. This is our angle, this is the opposite side, and this is the adjacent side. So that 50 is adjacent, the x is opposite. So tangent of 62 is going to be equal to the opposite over adjacent. So that's for x. For y, we've got opposite and adjacent. Again, it's actually the exact same. So we're just changing the numbers to 70, and then the buildings are still 50 feet apart. Oh, I'm going to change that to y. It's y over 50. Alright, then when I solve, I'm going to multiply 50 times tangent of 62, and I'll get x is 94.0. And then 50 times tangent of 70 is a 134 point. Oh, I got that wrong. It's 137.4. So the white out is coming out. Alright, now you've got x and you've got y, so we know how long this is. We know how long that side of that triangle is. We just need to add these together. So x plus y. When you add these two together, you get 200 and plus 4. I'm going crazy. Whew. Sorry guys, that's rough. X plus y. I don't know where 4 came from. But when you add the 94 and the 137.4, you get 231.4 feet. Awesome. So these really take practice. I would suggest going through these again and trying to draw these pictures by yourself. There, now you can see that. Probably helps. But good luck. And that's all.